welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
The Atlanta Falcons come into this game 2-0. They won the coin toss. They deferred. The Cowboys start with the football. Off we go as Bosher will kick it away. Lance Dunbar is waiting deep for Dallas. Glad you're with us today on Fox. Let's all enjoy week 3. Brandon Weeden will start at the 20. I like what you say with regard to Weeden. He's got a great arm. He played baseball. He was a pitcher in the Yankee and the Dodger organization. He was a mid-90s fastball guy. Jerry Jones talked about how he's got a big arm. All that's great. But when things get fast and stuff starts flying around, now we got to see how he is as a quarterback.
Yeah, and how he handles all that is really going to determine, his success, just like it does all around this league with quarterbacks. A very talented guy. And if he has some time, and these receivers do their job, he has a chance to have a lot of success here today.
Going to start it with a run with Randall, and he has some room. Good start, Joseph Randall out across the 45, out to the 48. And if there's one thing, Troy, that Weeden, Randall, a banged-up receiving corps can lean on, it's this really good offensive line.
Well, Travis Frederick, the center, does an excellent job of just getting enough of the linebacker, which really helped open up that lane. That left side of the offensive line, Lael Collins is making his first NFL start at left guard for Ron Leary, who's out with an injury. Collins played some last week, felt he deserved to get the start here today, and they run right behind him on the first play of the game.
28 yards to start the day. Play action from Weeden. And he's going to go downfield for Williams. A flag is thrown. Robert Alford was in coverage. And it's against Atlanta. Tony Romo smiling with the start to this one.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Number 23 defense. 15-yard penalty automatic. First down.
Take a look at it here, and that was the grab with the left hand that they called him on. The ball, typically when you work to the outside like that, that's your first read. Brandon Weeden initially was working the opposite side of the field and then took the shot down the field. I don't know that they were going to have much of an opportunity, but they pick up Alford with the penalty.
180!
High formation behind Weeden. Here's Randall right side. Good play up front. It was Durant. Couldn't bring him down. And Randall's going to cruise for the touchdown.
These are the plays that we're accustomed to seeing from Joe Randall last year when he'd get in these games. Justin Durant, number 52, comes up. He's got a chance to get Randall to the ground. He's unblocked, and just a couple of missed tackles. And Joseph Randall with the speed, he takes it the distance.
37 yards, first rushing touchdown of the year for Joseph Randall. And a quick start. Ride that good offensive line. Whether it's Weeden or Romo handing it off. It's Joseph Randall. Broke a tackle, did not leave any meat on that bone.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
80 yards in 68 seconds to start the day for the Dallas offense, and it's Joseph Randall. What did Jason Garrett say? You're only 2 good young long runs away from a good ground game. I've been waiting for that to kick in. Last year, the league's leading rusher in DeMarco Murray, and a good start today. For Joseph Randall, now we'll see what the answer is for Matt Ryan and the Atlanta offense. Back to the touchdown.
Well, we all know what kind of receiver Jason Witten is as a tight end, but look at the job that he does here in the run game. He's been doing this throughout his career, and I think that's what separates him with all the other great tight ends in this league. He is a complete player and just does an excellent job, and he's been banged up all week. Last week he sprained both ankles, got a sprained knee. Some questioned whether or not he was going to be able to play today, but those that did don't know Jason Witten. He's only missed one game in his entire career.
Here's a toss to Freeman running right, and the defense swallows him up. Kyle Wilbur, who's been battling a bad hamstring, is out there to bring him down after a gain of 1. It's been a good start for this Falcons offense. We highlight these guys. They added Levitre late at left guard. Julio Jones tied for first in the league with his 22 catches. Roddy White was shut out last week. And Devontae Freeman gets his first NFL start with Tevin Coleman, the rookie, out with a broken rib. There's Dan Quinn, first-year head coach, former defensive coordinator in Seattle. Here is a handoff to Freeman, and he's brought down by Nick Hayden. Hayden able to shed a block, get arms on Freeman and bring him down. And why don't you talk about this defense? You believe it's better than people realize.
Well, I really do. I mean, last year, obviously, they were better than most people thought that they would be, and they've added some pieces. They're not all on the field today. Their 2 best pass rushers not playing. Of course, they lost their best corner for the season, but through 2 weeks, they have been outstanding.
That guy we just showed you, Sean Lee, may be the best player on the field right now. What a difference he makes at linebacker. 3rd down. Ryan is going to be sacked. Sean Lee right there, right on cue, is in for the sack, and that's his first of the year. How good is Sean Lee?
Sean Lee's a heck of a playmaker. You can see him in the middle right here, and Ward, the running back, he's going to pick him up, but then for some reason he comes off of him, and he gives Sean Lee a straight shot to the quarterback. And Sean Lee, coming off a great game last week against the Eagles, was named Defensive Player of the Week. And for a guy who's had as many injuries as he's had, some significant injuries, he's playing some of his best football here in the early going of this season.
14 tackles and an interception last week for Lee. As Bosher gets it away and hits a beauty. He's one of the best. A fair catch hauled in by Cole Beasley. Well, it's not number 9. It's number 9 smiling and whispering into the left ear of Brandon Wheaton, who's smiling. Good start for the Cowboys, up 7.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
New version of Big Tex at the State Fair of Texas, which is going on this weekend. That's back in Dallas. We're in Arlington, where the Cowboys watch Wheaton roll out to his right and hit Witten. Wheaton to Witten. And so far, the Cowboys haven't misfired on offense yet. 19 yards to Jason Witten.
Well, they got that running game with Joseph Randle in the first series, and they come off of it with play action and get Wheaton out on the edge. And the Falcons committing to stopping the run, and it just opens up that intermediate throw to Jason Witten.
Already had plays of 28 yards, 37 for the touchdown, now 19 to Witten. He's making his 134th consecutive start. Here's Randall. They can't slow him down. And he's forced out of bounds by Ricardo Allen, but after a carry of 20 yards. This has the makings of a record-setting day for Joseph Randall.
You're going to see Doug Free, the right tackle, and the job that he does of securing the second level at the linebackers, and it allows Joseph Randall just a clean run. And this is an offensive line that last week struggled against the Philadelphia Eagles, primarily with penalties. They were embarrassed by that. They came in here to this game looking for a little revenge from that performance, and here in the early going, they're doing a heck of a job of coming off the ball and just mashing the Atlanta Falcons.
Here's Randall left side. Bottled up for the first time. Joseph already with a career high 86 rushing yards. Let's check in with Kurt with a game break.
Well, here's one I don't think I've ever seen. In St. Louis, the pyrotechnics before the game set the field on fire. They finally got the fire put out, but it's delayed the start of the game against the Steelers. They are waiting this one out right now. Joe, Troy, and Aaron, that's a hot start.
That is so symbolic.
That's the last team that needed that to happen.
Can't get the pyrotechnics to work. Second and 9. I don't have plenty. Here's Randall underneath, and Joseph Randall brought down right at the marker. Depends on where they spot him. Warlow, the middle linebacker, made the stop. And they've already given him enough for another first down.
Well, this is what Brandon Weeden talked to us about, and the emphasis all week long was if they run underneath the outside throws, take what's underneath. And I really think that's where Tony Romo has been really good in the last year and a half, is being patient. Brandon Weeden says he's learned from it. That was an excellent job on his part, not trying to force anything.
Randall again, nowhere to go. Well played up front by the Falcons defense. And it's Babineau who was there along with O'Brien Schofield. Loss of 1. Look at this defense. It was the last ranked defense in the NFL a year ago. Also ranked last against the pass. They bring in Dan Quinn, who was in charge of the Seahawks defensively. And they had 2 tremendous years under his guidance. 2nd and 11. Blitz coming from the Falcons. Cowboys pick it up. Beasley shakes 1 tackle. Picked up another 2 yards after going around Phillip Adams. A gain of 8. 3rd and short coming up.
The Atlanta Falcons, they bring the corner blitz. Brandon Weeden doesn't see it coming, but because of where the corner was blitzing from, he was able to get the ball out on time. So in the first couple of possessions, the Cowboys just doing an excellent job of allowing Brandon Weeden to get into a rhythm. They've run the ball well, and they've gotten him outside the pocket. He's been patient. It's gone about as well as they could have hoped.
Lance Dunbar is the man in motion. 3rd down and 3. Weeden in trouble, steps into it, finds Beasley. Down inside the 5, 1st and goal. And in the first quarter of big plays by this Dallas offense, add 20 more.
Well, this is a matchup problem when you got Cole Beasley, who's so good in the slot, but Brandon Weeden navigating the rush and being able to step up. He knows where he's going with the football. He got a good pre-snap read. What Atlanta does defensively is not real complicated, and you're going to know what the looks are, and Brandon Weeden taking advantage.
Weeden started this year 11 for 11. 7 for 7 cleaning up last week in Philly. Touchdown Randall, his 2nd. And this dominant offensive line is making it look easy against Dan Quinn's Atlanta Falcons defense.
Zach Martin and Doug Free do an outstanding job of blocking the interior of that defense and giving Joseph Randall a place to go with the football. Not touched until he crosses his goal line. So great job of finishing the 2nd drive for the Dallas Cowboys.
14-0. You know that Weeden throws a pretty ball, doesn't he?
I've been hearing it all week.
And Randall can run. 14-0 behind number 3, not number 9.
Today's game is sponsored by Chrysler. Celebrate 90 years of innovation at the Chrysler Anniversary Celebration event by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. And by Burger King. Kick off fall with the new Oreo Pumpkin Spice Shake.
Personification of class in the NFL. Tom Landry, and now the current head coaches battling here today. And 2 guys who were on the same staff with the Miami Dolphins years ago. Jason Garrett and Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's crew's got to get to work from the 20, down 14. Did you know Nick Saban was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins in 2005 and 2006? On his staff, Dan Quinn, the defensive line coach, and Jason Garrett coached the quarterbacks. By the way, also on that staff, Scott Linehan was the offensive coordinator for 1 year. Hudson Houck was head of the offensive line. Derek Dooley, George Edwards, Keith Armstrong. From Nick Saban, Dan Quinn is an outstanding coach, very bright guy, high energy, good teacher, really well liked by the players, no doubt. He's brought a lot of life to Atlanta. 2-0 down here, and a quick throw and a catch by Julio Jones to get him involved, good for 5.
Yeah, and even the Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator on the staff today, Richard Smith, He was on that Miami staff with Dan Quinn. So a lot of good coaches back there with Nick Saban, not surprising, considering the success that Nick Saban's had over the years, certainly at the collegiate level. But Dan Quinn has been real proud of this team and the way that they have finished games each of the last 2 weeks to start this season. But I know right now he's wanting to see them get off to a good start.
Second down and 5. Ryan fires. Pass is caught. Rolling catch by Hankerson, who is becoming a bigger part of the Atlanta offense as the weeks roll by. Had a big week last week. Caught 6 for 77 at the Giants.
Yeah, a guy who has some experience within this offense, Kyle Shanahan, who we've not talked about, is the offensive coordinator. He was with the Redskins last year. He was with the Browns. Hankerson was with the Redskins, and he's just a solid guy. They've had to rely on him a little bit more when you've got a guy like Devin Hester who has not yet played because of turf toe, but he's a solid player and does a nice job on that last play.
Blitz coming. Falcons pick it up. Ryan throws low and incomplete for Julio Jones. A better throw, and Julio might still be running.
Well, he had a shot at it too, and you just don't see Matt Ryan. That's 2 balls in a row that he has thrown low. Hankerson was able to catch the one, but this one to Julio Jones, he's not able to retrieve it. Julio Jones is the start that he's gotten off to. He's got 22 receptions coming into this game. They've thrown it to him 26 times. It's pretty much guaranteed money when you throw the ball in his direction.
Here's a toss to Freeman running right. He's got some blocking and a nice pickup of a first down, and he withstood a hit from Wilcox. And that fires up the Falcons bench. Good for 16 yards for Devontae Freeman.
Well, Roddy White on the outside, the wide receiver, he does an excellent job of blocking the perimeter, which allowed Freeman to get the extra yards. J.J. Wilcox comes in, and here's the block by Roddy White on Brandon Carr. Just an outstanding job. J.J. Wilcox in week 1, he broke his nose putting a hit on Odell Beckham. A very physical player, but that time he was the recipient.
Play action. Ryan well protected, throws it flat-footed and low for Julio Jones. Couldn't get anything on that throw. He was a little bit off as he let that go. There's Rod Marinelli. He took over a defense that 2 years ago was just awful, allowing over 400 yards per game last year. A little better this year with Sean Lee back now. As you said, the guys that are coming back after week 4, they have a chance of being a dominant defense here in Dallas.
Really good. I think people are still, trying to figure out, okay, just how good are they? But Joe, I think this could be really one of the elite defenses in this league by the time the year's up.
2nd and 10 to the sideline. Good throw. And a catch and a hop out of bounds by Julio Jones for a first down.
Well, this offensive line just doing a good job right now of giving Matt Ryan time in the pocket. And he's such a talented quarterback that if you don't get to him, they've got too many weapons on the outside. As good as Dallas was last week against the Eagles, in being able to man up and really not give them anywhere to throw the football. This is a different group here with the Atlanta Falcons and a much different quarterback.
With no hit from Claiborne there. He let Julio Jones pick up the first down after the catch. Here's a handoff to Freeman, and he's got room to run down to the 16, almost the 15-yard line. As he picks up 10 more yards. We saw Barry Church leave a moment ago and go into the dressing room. He's not out there right now for the Dallas defense.
Well, this is old school football that you just don't see much in this league anymore with a 2-back set, and Freeman just gets right in behind fullback Patrick DeMarco for the gain. And there's Kyle Shanahan, who hasn't really been able to use the entire offense the last few places he's been, but he certainly has a full complement of plays today.
Here's one into the air and almost picked off. Hankerson had it for a moment up into the air. Claiborne in coverage. 2nd and 10, and a couple of Dallas players had a shot at a pick.
Yeah, the 2 things that Rod Marinelli preaches each and every day is giving great effort and then takeaways. And usually when the ball pops up like this in the middle of the field, you're very fortunate if it comes up incomplete.
caught Julio Jones. And he will spin his way near another first down. This time working on Brandon Carr, and they move Julio Jones all over the offensive formation.
Yeah, and the Cowboys, they play a lot of single high safety, one-on-one. He's going to attract a lot of attention. And on that play, 2 guys are on him, but it just, you can talk about doubling a guy, and certainly he's the type of receiver that is going to get doubled each and every week, and yet he's able to produce. And to me, that's really the definition of a great receiver.
Falcons have had 5 plays of 10 or more yards on this drive. First and goal. Pass is broken up. Claiborne banged bodies with Julio Jones. We've seen on the officiating tape that defensive player has just as much right to the football, and Claiborne was in great position.
Well, he read it, but Julio Jones, he almost really sold out his quarterback, because it was almost as if Julio wasn't expecting to get the ball thrown to him. And the cardinal rule for any receiver is you have to cross the defender, and you can't allow him to have an open lane to the ball. And the Falcons fortunate now twice.
Ryan floats it. It is broken up. Carr got his hand in front of Roddy White. Third and goal. Good play by number 39. Flag is thrown in the end zone away from where the pass was thrown.
Holding. Number 24 defense. After this is the goal, automatic first down.
They get Claiborne.
There's a play with Brandon Carr coming in. He makes a nice play on the ball. He was beat initially, but on the backside, and Matt Ryan was really playing. He was looking play side throughout that play. So a penalty on Morse Claiborne, which was the right call, but really had no impact on the result of the play.
So instead of third and goal, it's first and goal from the 3. Freeman left side. Gets to the edge. Touchdown Atlanta. And a good block by Patrick DeMarco, the young fullback. And Devontae Freeman with a good start in his first career NFL start.
Well, Patrick DeMarco does an outstanding job of leading the way. You're going to see the block that he makes, which gives Freeman. Now, Freeman was thinking, okay, am I going to take it inside there? There's pursuit on the backside with Brandon Carr. He takes it to the pylon. And well, the Falcons needing to put together a drive to get back into this game, and that's exactly what they do, with good protection up front for Matt Ryan throughout that series.
We talk about the Dallas defense being so good, and the Atlanta Falcons just knifed right through it. A smile from Matt Ryan. We might be in for a shootout today in Arlington. Well, the Falcons got exactly what they needed. Julio Jones a part of it. The offensive line, and let's face it, this is a makeshift, put it together on the fly offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons. They were terrific on that drive.
Yeah, they really were. And the offensive line has been an issue with this team for several years now. And you're right, they pulled it together, and they did a great job on that possession.
Dunbar will take a knee. We will take a break. Dallas with the ball up 7. Little time lapse from the college game last night. Arkansas and A&M went at it here at AT&T Stadium, and now today back to the NFL configuration. It's got to make Jerry Jones smile over there in the Death Star across the way.
Well, until his Razorbacks lost in overtime last night.
Well, he's not smiling at that. Whedon keeps it underneath. Randall, what a first half he's putting together. And on first down, he picks up 9. Well, the Cowboys and their fans, Troy, have to hope that the injured players for Dallas, Tony Romo and Des Bryant, have the recovery powers of the owner here, Jerry Jones, who was basically breakdancing days after getting his second hip replacement. He's unbelievable. About to turn 73. I missed that out. Second and 1, Randall right side. Got a first down. He's had a lot of room to run. Cowboys. There's Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Arthur Blank. Arthur Blank, who's been the principal owner of the Atlanta Falcons since 2002. He's got a new stadium in the works. And there's Jerry. There's Arthur. It's his birthday today. Thomas Dimitrov to his left. First down, Dallas. Randall left side, brought down from behind. And the play made by the defensive end Tyson Jackson, no gain.
I think if you look at Atlanta defensively, Joe, through the first couple of weeks, and they play hard. I talked about Rod Marinelli and how he preaches effort, and Dallas defensively is always going to play with great effort. And I believe the same could be said for Dan Quinn and what he preaches each week, both when he was at Seattle and then here with the Falcons. But because of the way those games are played, I think their pass defense probably not as bad as what you would think coming into this game. Run defense probably not as good. And the Cowboys here in the early going have had a lot of success running the football.
Extra men on the rush. Here's Dunbar, who makes a nice catch and is dragged down a yard short of a first down. So 3rd and 1 coming up. Allen made the play. Game break coming up. Here's Kurt.
Well, the Ravens trying to avoid an 0-3 start. Cincinnati trying to get to 3-0, and it's the Bengals so far. Andy Dalton scrambles for a 7-yard score as they get ready to start the second quarter with the Bengals up by a touchdown. Joe Troy and Eric.
Kurt, thanks. Here it's 3rd down and 1.
You got Mike. Hey, do Mike.
Handoff is to Randall, and he's swallowed up. First guy there was Durant, the former Cowboy. It'll be 4th down. And a good play by number 52. And a nice stop for this Falcons defense as we wind down the first quarter here in Arlington. 4th down when we start the second. Good start for the Cowboys, and then an answer from the Falcons, a 7-point game. Back after this from your local Fox station. You know you're in for a good day when the second quarter is going to start with a punt. And that's what's going to happen here as Chris Jones will punt it with Eric Weems waiting for it. Devin Hester, the 4-time Pro Bowler, still out with turf toe. And Jones hits a high hanger. Weems from inside the 15 with a fair catch. October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action. The American League Division and Championship Series. It all begins October 8th on FS1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. See the Blue Jays. There's Donaldson. What a year he's had. What a lineup they have in Toronto. National League is really exciting, and congratulations to the New York Mets. Richie Science, our producer, goes to bed in his little Mets footy pajamas every night. He's excited that the Mets are back in for the first time since '06. First down, Atlanta down by 7. Freeman right side. And this kid runs hard. He's out to the 20. Devontae's caught your attention. Troy Barry Church on the tackle.
Well, he's gotten an opportunity, of course, in his second season. He got some playing time last year. Different scheme, but he fits this. See the grab on the face mask, got away with one there. Barry Church, but Devontae Freeman, I know Kyle Shanahan, in visiting with him yesterday, he was really excited about him. Feels that he fits this running scheme very well. One-cut guy, and boy, he has run the ball well. But in addition to him, fullback Patrick DeMarco, he's made some really key blocks in this running game.
Good to see Barry Church back in there for Dallas. Wasn't in there the last time Atlanta had the ball on second down. Ryan looking downfield. He finds Roddy White, and he's got a first down, but a flag is down, and it came in late, right at the end of the play. And it's an ineligible man downfield for Atlanta.
Ineligible player downfield, number 73 in the offense. 5-yard penalty remains, second down.
You get Ryan Schrader, the right tackle.
Yeah, Ryan Schrader just loses sight of, where he is on the field, because obviously he knows it's going to be a rollout by the quarterback. Ball's going to be coming out a little bit later than normal. Roddy White did a really nice job of freeing himself up on that route, and Matt Ryan showing off the arm that he has.
A lot more moving around for Matt Ryan under the direction of Kyle Shanahan. 2nd and 8. That erases a first down and a 17-yard completion. Here's one to Freeman. He's going to be wrapped up short of a first down. 3rd down coming up. Sean Lee on the coverage and the tackle, a gain of 6.
Yeah, so now in that first possession, Joe, looking at the Dallas defense and the job that they were able to do getting pressure on Matt Ryan, and the scoring drive that the Falcons put together, and then this possession here, he's had time in the pocket. It makes it awfully tough on all these guys in coverage when the quarterback stands back there with the ball that long.
3rd down and 2. Sideline incomplete for Julio Jones. And Devontae Freeman, the back, came out of the backfield. He was wide open underneath, but Ryan was looking at number 11 the entire time. 4th down.
Well, he had the matchup that he liked. He's got some safety help, but essentially it's one-on-one, 3rd down. It's a pretty good place to go with the football. You're right. They had turned Freeman loose there in the middle of the field. Cowboys doing a good job of getting off the field.
5'8", 180-pounder Cole Beasley, who played collegiately at SMU, waits for the punt from Bosher, who led the NFL last year in hang time. He can boom it. This one's ugly and on a line. Beasley a chance to return it. Swallowed up short of the 45. But good starting field position for the Cowboys. Their offense back on the turf. Up 7.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history. By Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. And by DraftKings. Free 1-week fantasy football at DraftKings.com.
Barry Church, we saw him exit bleeding. They were checking on him on the sideline. He's been back since, but suffered a cut 2 possessions ago when the Falcons had the ball. Now the Cowboys have it, up 7, handoff to McFadden. And Darren McFadden picks up 10. Ricardo Allen on the stop. We'll see where they mark it. And they're going to give him a first down.
Talked about La'el Collins making his first start as a rookie, and look at the job that he does on this play. And then McFadden, he reads that block and comes inside of that. Just an excellent job, and that's what they get with Collins. They get a big, strong, physical guy, and he's a young player. He's going to make some mistakes from time to time, but when he's on point, he can be really good. A first-round talent that they were able to pick up who was not drafted, and Des Bryant, of course, liking the action.
Ricardo Allen needs some attention to get off the field. Ricardo last week was pulled during the game against the Giants for taking bad angles from that safety position, so we have a timeout. Let's go back to the hit. Check on Allen now on the sideline on first down. Here's McFadden. This time Collins can't hold on to his block, and a flag is down in the area of a hold. The first guy there was Corey Bierman. It's a hold against the Cowboys.
Hey, you hear the Falcons, they're trying to decide whether they want to accept it.
Number 77 offense, 10-yard penalty remains, first down.
Get Tyron Smith.
Yeah, Croy Bierman is who Tyron Smith is working against, and as soon as Bierman starts to come off of that block, they called Tyron. I didn't see a whole lot there. It certainly looked worse than it was, but you see the penalties. 18 penalties last year for the team, last week for the team, but 10 of them on this offensive line.
Now first down and 20. Wheat pass complete. That's Witten in midfield. He's driven backward. But a gain of 6. Durant on the stop. Let's check in with Kurt for the game break.
Well, they say the low man wins in football. It helps when you're 5'6". Darren Sproles scoots under a couple of tacklers and then he's gone. 89 yards on the punt return touchdown for Philadelphia. They need something to get him going. It's working right now against the Jets. They're up 10-0 in the second quarter. Joe Tornado.
What does Chip Kelly need that Philadelphia team?
You go back to last year, the number of return touchdowns that the Eagles had a year ago, and then getting one by Sproles here today.
Here's a completion to Dunbar. He breaks one tackle, and we'll see where they spot him. They're going to give him forward progress to the 35 and a first down as he went around Warlow. And a nice catch and run by Lance Dunbar is now Brandon Whedon has, we saw the numbers for this year, but going back to last year, he has completed 20 straight, which is a franchise record according to the media guide for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, he might complete 20 more in a row if he continues to get the time that he's getting, because he's pretty calm right now in the pocket, and rightfully so. He's been able to look downfield, nothing there, he comes underneath, and Lance Dunbar is an excellent option to do that.
Here's McFadden, cuts upfield, a nice run to the 30. Brandon Whedon was born in Oklahoma City in 1983, and he was a second-round pick in 2002 by the Yankees, the MLB draft. He played at Oklahoma State then as an older collegiate player from 2008 to 2011, drafted 22nd overall by Cleveland, signed by the Cowboys last year. As a starter is 6-15, making his 22nd career start. The beginning to this one for him, 2nd and 5. Another completion. It's another first down, and again it's Witten as Phillip Adams makes the stop.
You see the pocket again that Brandon Whedon has afforded. And just being patient, taking what the defense is giving him, not forcing anything, getting good looks, working Jason Witten, working Cole Beasley and Lance Dunbar, and those three guys are awfully nice to have targeted when you're getting the time in the pocket that he's been getting.
Here's McFadden. On first down inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him at the 12, a gain of 7. Beasley, the first-round pick on the stop for Atlanta.
Well, this offensive line is just controlling the line of scrimmage. Travis Frederick this time at center. You can see the job that he does. Lyle Collins, he gets up to the linebacker level, and just each guy really doing an excellent job of moving out their man and creating some huge lanes, whether it's McFadden with the ball or Joseph Randle.
Here's McFadden again, makes a move down near the 2. On the stop was Robinson Therizi, who was taken over for Ricardo Allen, who's out with a knee. His return is questionable, and the Cowboys are knocking on the door again, this time with McFadden, who is kind of the style runner DeMarco Murray was, kind of a one-cut back behind this big offensive line.
Well, well-designed play right there. They kick out to the right side. They're able to get Zach Martin then up to the linebacker, and just a clean, straight shot right in the heart of that defensive front.
McFadden to the edge, to the end zone, touchdown. That's 3 rushing touchdowns against the Atlanta defense, all bottled up inside Troy, and McFadden just took it outside.
Yeah, the key block being out here on the outside.
That's Escobar.
They're able to secure the edge, and then with McFadden and the ball in his hands, he's going to get to the corner.
21-7, 14-point lead is back for the Dallas Cowboys and Brandon Whedon. A confident start for Dallas, up 14. Some questions to be answered for that Atlanta defense, as it has been exposed by the Dallas rushing attack so far in this one. 3 rushing touchdowns. But the Cowboys up 14. As Bailey drives it to the back of the end zone. So now Atlanta's turn to try and answer. Down by 14.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football.
Well, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones may combine to put together the roster of the Dallas Cowboys, but nobody can put together a roster of fine art like Gene Jones. That one Starfield by Teresita Fernandez here at the stadium in Arlington. And first down from the 20. Atlanta down 14. Delayed handoff, and Freeman got hit in the backfield. First guy there was Tyrone Crawford. And they love him. Hayden was there as well, but Crawford is the guy that's playing the Warren Sapp role in the defense designed by Rod Marinelli, with Sean Lee, the linebacker, in the Derek Brooks role. Those two guys could be stars this year.
No question. Tyrone Crawford, he's the key really to that scheme along that defensive front. They signed him to an extension. Rod Marinelli really loves the way that he plays.
2nd and 12. Ryan completes. And up at the 25, a hit by Sean Lee. Jacob Tammy, the tight end, and he's slow to get up. He got popped by Sean Lee. And he's not right.
Well, you can see the official jumping in, and that's one of the things that's now implemented in the league. As you see the hit on Tammy, that these officials are watching for this. Anything that looks like the guy's a little bit woozy, as clearly it does for Jacob Tammy. And if he's unable to go, Joe, that's a pretty significant player to have go down. He's a versatile guy. He does a lot within this offense, and a guy that Matt Ryan really feels comfortable about.
Levine Toilolo is the only other tight end they list on their roster. 3rd and 4. Ryan, pass broken up. Incomplete for Hankerson with Patman on the coverage.
Well, the Cowboys do an excellent job of passing this off. You see the action. They're expecting man coverage, and the way that they stack the receivers, they think the Cowboys are going to get confused as to who's got who, but the Cowboys, much like you would in basketball on a pick and roll, Tyler Patman comes off of it. He jumps Hankerson. An excellent job of executing there by the Cowboys defensively to force a punt.
Now Bosher with Dunbar waiting back this time, not Beasley. This is a beauty. Dunbar, no fair catch. Somehow got around that first tackle by Southward and turns it into a 4-yard return after a 59-yard punt.
Jones said this week that Brandon Whedon throws the prettiest ball he's ever seen. How'd that make you feel?
Well, not too good.
That's great. Earlier today on Fox NFL Sunday, and Whedon has not thrown an incompletion yet. It's pretty.
It's pretty. Jimmy just loves to stir it up.
He loves it. Here's Whedon in trouble out to his left. Throws it right into the defense, picked off by Moore. And William Moore with the interception. And Whedon makes his first mistake of the game. Exactly what Atlanta needed, as Whedon forced it out to his left.
He gets moving to his left, and he just appears to not even see where Moore was, but I don't know exactly where he was going with the football. It looked like Witten may have been coming into the area. You're going to see off the action. He gets flushed to his left. Certainly was not designed. He's trying to make a throw there to Witten. It's high. And the one thing that certainly has been preached and not forcing it. He's done a great job of that, but that's a difficult throw as you're rolling to your left, trying to get turned and still be accurate with it, and just a costly mistake by Brandon Whedon.
And you could see, Troy, the moment he came to the sideline, Garrett was in his ear, then Linehan was in his ear trying to keep him up.
Yeah. And the other part of it, too, is it's easy after the fact. I mean, you're still out there trying to make some plays, but just wasn't able to get turned and comfortable with the throw.
Let's see what the Falcons can do with this. Freeman Gets hit out to his left. Barry Church, cut under the nose and all, is there for Dallas, a gain of 5. And we'll go back to the interception as Wheaton throws his first pick.
Yeah, this is a good look right here from the defensive perspective, and as Wheaton gets flushed, you see Witten coming into the picture, but just had no opportunity whatsoever. And you know, Brandon Wheaton certainly knowing that on that one, hey, just throw it out of bounds and live to play another down.
Had been 16 for 16 to start the year. That's his first incompletion, and it goes as an interception. Now 2nd and 5. Ryan protected. Freeman gets popped. Where will they mark him? Church on the stop. It's like a yard shy of a first down, and we will go down to the field and Aaron Andrews.
And Joe, word from Atlanta, tight end Jacob Tamme has been taken back to the locker room for concussion protocol. We'll give you an update when we get one.
All right, so that's a big weapon not there. Down to Levine Toilolo. And that's it at tight end for the Falcons, a position that gave the offense virtually nothing last year for Matt Ryan. 3rd and 1.
Well, the Cowboys one-on-one. They got one-on-one on the outside here with Roddy White if he wants to take a shot.
Julio Jones was in a tailback, and the handoff is to the up-back Devontae Freeman. And he sets up 1st and goal from inside the 10 with under 5 to go first half.
Well, that'll get your attention defensively when they put their best receiver, Julio Jones, in the backfield. How are we going to match up with this? You know, you got a lot of options. You put him back there and allow him to go either direction. But a handoff here underneath to Freeman, and a big 3rd down conversion for the Falcons.
First down and goal. Here's Freeman. Bouncing it, runs into a lineman, and that slowed him down. Church in to clean up. It looked like Schrader got in his way. The starting right tackle, a gain of just 1.
That's hard enough, dodging those other 11 guys, besides when you're dodging your own blockers.
Now Tyrone Crawford gets up a little gimpy. He limps off to the sideline. Stop the clock for a moment. Cowboys cannot lose him. 2nd down and goal. Dan Quinn looking for a score, down 14. Ryan back of the end zone, nothing there. And a flag. And a hold against Dallas.
Holding. Number 42, defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Well, Barry Church is the one they call. He's the one in coverage. There's obviously a lot of contact there. I was a little surprised by the call. I don't think it had much of a chance really to be caught. Matt Ryan just trying to put it up high, but another costly penalty on Dallas to give the Falcons a first down here in the red zone, much like their previous score.
From the 3. Freeman. 2nd and goal. Nick Hayden made the stop. He gets up Parker.
Well, Dallas this year through 2 weeks has been pretty good down here in the red zone, and clearly when you get the ball and you're backed up the way that the Cowboys were defensively, you're just trying to hold them to 3 points. But a costly penalty on Church, now a big 2nd and goal for the Falcons to climb back into this ball game.
After the interception by William Moore. Low snap. Pass is broken up. Julio Jones had it for a moment, and J.J. Wilcox knocked it away. And that saved a touchdown. 3rd and goal.
Well, this is a ball that's thrown high. Julio Jones typically makes those plays, but it's tough as a receiver when you got to go up and make a grab down there knowing you're going to take some shots. Ball doesn't come out well for Ryan. We've seen him be a little bit errant with some throws. You typically don't see that, but that should have been pretty easy touchdown for those two.
Crawford back in there for Dallas. 3rd and goal. Freeman. Touchdown. And the Falcons with 7 points off the turnover right back in it. A 2-touchdown day for Devontae Freeman. And the interception leads to 6, maybe 7.
Well, they get just enough movement, and then Devontae Freeman, he's able to punch it in to cap this drive. And yeah, the Falcons, they would have been really demoralized getting that kind of field position and not being able to cash in with 7 points. A costly turnover by the Cowboys puts the Falcons right back in this ball game with just over 2 minutes to play.
Seven-point game. Brandon Wheaton, the interception. With his roll out to his left, the penalty on Church. Devontae Freeman, his second of the day, 7-point game at Arlington. 7-point game now as the Falcons take advantage of the interception. And now welcome inside the booth. I'm Joe Buck, the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman to my left. And one thing the Cowboys have asked of Brandon Wheaton here is to not force it. Be smart, make good decisions. He forced it to Witten. The interception, 7 points later, it's a 7-point game.
Yeah, that's one he'd like to have back. I think when you're kind of out of control a little bit and you're moving to your left and you can't quite get turned the way you need to deliver an accurate football. And I think Brandon would be the first guy to tell you, yeah, I should never have attempted that throw. I will say, though, sometimes it's easy to armchair quarterback and say that, hey, he shouldn't have forced it when you're only going off of the results of the play. But he has been patient throughout this first half, but one that I just don't think he was in a good position to deliver the kind of ball that he needed to.
So now with 2:18 on the clock and 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, back to work goes Wheaton. This fall, Fox brings you an hour of all-star comedy. We've got Grandfathered with John Stamos and Josh Peck, and The Grinder with Rob Lowe and Fred Savage. The fall's funniest premieres this Tuesday on Fox, and happy to have John Stamos, Josh Peck, Rob Lowe, and Fred Savage in the Fox family as this drive will start at the 20, and a chance for the Dallas offense to put something together here before the half. Pass caught by Beasley. Wide receiver screen, and Beasley with a good start to the drive. And now a flag at the end of it for a shove out of bounds. And a 15-yard play will tack on 15 more. This is 30 yards of field position.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 37 defense, late hit, out of bounds. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
That's Ricardo Allen, who was banged up with a knee earlier. He is flagged for that.
Yeah, that's an easy call, but Tyron Smith, the left tackle, and the athlete that he is, he's out leading the way from the left tackle position. As soon as the ball's thrown, he takes off running. He gets a key block. Terrence Williams is out there as well. Very good execution.
So 15 yards plus 15 more. The ball's at midfield. 2-minute warning in Texas. You can replay every NFL game. Subscribe now at itunes.com/NFL. One play to start this drive, 30 yards of field position because of a 15-yard play and then a penalty. So from the 50, handoff is to Dunbar. And the little back, who's really good out of the backfield catching the ball, carries it for 5. William Moore on the tackle for Atlanta. And right now the Cowboys are averaging just under 10 yards per play here in the first half.
Yeah, it's just a matter of who's in the game because this offensive line really doing an excellent job.
Wheaton throws. Catch made. Witten first down. Seven-yard completion to Jason Witten. He's playing in his 190th consecutive game. A sprained knee and 2 sprained ankles. Plenty of time. 3 timeouts for each side. Wheaton. Dunbar. Room to run. Dunbar can't get out of bounds, but he's got a first down inside the 25. Warlow on the tackle, a catch and run of 15. And a timeout taken by Dallas. With a timeout by the Cowboys, here's Kurt Menefee. What's coming up at halftime, Kurt?
All right, we're getting ready for the Visa halftime. The Bengals and Ravens match up in an AFC North clash. The Steelers take their high-powered offense to St. Louis, and the Colts try to change their luck against the Titans. Those highlights and more coming up on the Visa halftime.
How about the 0-2 teams to start the week? The Giants, they solved that at home against the Redskins on Thursday, but Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Seattle, Detroit, Baltimore, all 0-2 to start the year.
Yeah, and some good teams, too, in that bunch. Teams that we really expected to be in contention. Certainly they still can be.
Dan Quinn is nothing if not energetic, trying to fire up that defense.
Well, he's not happy. I mean, he certainly knows that that defensive front, you see Babineau, who he was talking to, and they've got to get off blocks. And they've got to be able to make some plays. And Brandon Wheaton has had a lot of time and a lot of running lanes for these backs.
Here's Dunbar again. The catch, the run inside the 10, down near the 1. He is tough to bring down. A catch and run of 22 yards by Lance Dunbar.
Well, Lance Dunbar came into this game as the second leading receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's got 4 receptions here in this first half. He's been running this route throughout the first half. They've not had linebackers there to pick it up. We saw last week the matchup problem that he can present when he splits out wide. He had a couple opportunities, caught one of them in that win against Philadelphia. Today they've been using him out of the backfield, and he's just given Brandon Wheaton a nice little security blanket underneath, and he's picked up some nice yards when he's had his opportunities to make the play.
You can see Warlow, the middle linebacker, go for the football and not the tackle. You think about the opportunity for Wheaton. 22nd overall pick when he was drafted in 2012, 2 down years in Cleveland. Talked about this being the first time he's had the same coordinator in back-to-back years since 7th grade. And that offensive coordinator might have been his science teacher. And now here he is with an opportunity, and he said to us, you know, I know I'm not going to get a lot of contracts. He came into the league in his mid-20s, but he believes he can play, and he stepped into that meeting room full of confidence. He's played that way here in the first half.
Boy, he really has.
Randall over the top. He is in for the touchdown. A 3-touchdown day for Joseph Randall.
There really wasn't much there. See, the ball started to come loose. It was close, but the official comes in. He signals a touchdown. Joseph Randall, the Falcons were able to get low when they came off the ball, and the only opportunity he really had to try to get that thing across the goal line was to do exactly what he did and go over the top.
Remember, the call on the field is touchdown. I don't think there's anything that we see there that would reverse the call, but because it's a scoring play, they look at it, and the Cowboys,
We will review the previous play.
they're going to give it a longer look. Cowboys have had 6 possessions, touchdown drives of 80, 77, 56, and 80 if this stands. The call when we come back. Here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
295 total yards of offense in this first half for Jason Garrett's Cowboys. 4 rushing touchdowns. 3 by Randall, 1 by McFadden. And Dunbar, a big part of that drive to get him down the field, 80 yards. And up again by 14. So it's a Cowboy team that has started 2-0, 2 wins in the division. After the pick, a nice drive put together by number 3. Brandon Wheaton and the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons joined the NFL in celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. This year the NFL is launching a campaign called Feel the Orgullo, which means feel the pride. Visit NFL.com/Hispanic Heritage for more information. Nice ceremony before the game, and then our national anthem here before another packed house in a stadium that dates back to 2009, put together for $1.3 billion as part of this $4 billion franchise. Is the worth estimated by Forbes. It is the wealthiest franchise along those lines in the world. And for a man in Jerry Jones who scraped together $140 million in 1989, here he sits on top of that empire and hoping to go to 3-0 in 2015.
People thought he was crazy back in 1989 for paying that amount of money.
It's a pretty good return on the investment. And another touchback off the foot of Dan Bailey. The drive for the Falcons with 3 timeouts will start at the 20 with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, 40 seconds left, 3 timeouts. Obviously, that's plenty of time for Matt Ryan, and being able to get this team back down the field. It's going to be on his shoulders, but in the second half, the defense got to make some stops. I mean, they've made 1 third down stop and then the interception, but really have shown no ability to slow down this running game or even get in the vicinity of Brandon Wheaton.
A lot of times you see teams in this position start with kind of a feel-it-out play, something underneath, see if they can get a chunky yardage and then go to work. Like that. Freeman out of the backfield. Out near the 28. Timeout taken by the Falcons, their first. Byron Jones, the rookie, and the first-round pick out of UConn made the tackle.
You know, I don't like burning timeouts that quickly in a 2-minute drill. I know there was 40 seconds to start this drive, but you get the underneath completion, you've got the defense then on their heels a little bit. You call timeout immediately, and you give a defense an opportunity to regroup and substitute if they want to, make a call in the huddle. 2-minute offense, both at the end of the half and at the end of games, is probably one of the most overlooked areas in all of football. It's amazing for how much that determines the success of a game and a team, how little attention's paid to it.
2nd and 3. Ryan has Hankerson out across the 40, and a timeout taken immediately by Dan Quinn again. 28 seconds left in the half, a completion of 15 yards.
I don't know. I don't get it. 28 seconds, you still got plenty of time. Now you got 1 more. Typically, you'd like to preserve your last timeout for your field goal team, assuming you get down in position, and that's what you have to settle for. But, you know, now to have the ball not even at midfield with just 1 timeout when you started the drive with 3, I just think that was some wasted timeouts when you have a chance to let your quarterback, one of the best in the business, do what he does well.
And on top of that, shorter throws with guys still close to the line of scrimmage just to get back and snap the ball again, but they're down to 1 timeout. The ball at their own 42. Ryan has Freeman over the middle, and Devontae Freeman making moves inside the 30 and down inside the 25 to the 23.
And now they will need to call timeout. A good call there by Matt Ryan and signaling for the timeout immediately when Freeman goes to the ground. You see, Devontae Freeman, he's a lot like Lance Dunbar. He creates some problems. You see that they're trying to cover him up with a defensive lineman off the ball. Based on the coverage there, just the way the defense was called, and they had Jack Crawford who's trying to come off and slow him down, and Matt Ryan reads it beautifully in a huge gain. But with that kind of gain, you don't have enough time to try to get your lineman down there and set to clock it. You have no other option but to burn the timeout.
Now 17 seconds remain in the half. Keep an eye on Julio Jones up at the top. Ryan looking right to the sideline. Pass is complete. Hankerson. They're going to mark him out with a gain of just over 9. 11 seconds left in the half.
Well, here you look at it from Matt Ryan's perspective, and you can't take a sack and you can't complete a pass that's not going to score inbounds. I mean, they're either going to have to get out of bounds or they're going to have to be in the end zone, because you're probably not going to be able to keep the clock running and get it clocked. So he's got to be real smart with the football here and where he decides to go with it.
Sean Lee out in coverage on Freeman at the top. Ryan, quick setup. He will throw it away. And now you're down basically to one play. Do you want to go for the field goal and get points or take a crack at it? The answer is field goal.
Yeah, easy call for Dan Quinn. They take one shot in the end zone. Matt Ryan knew there was 11 seconds. If you got to make a decision, you got to make it quick. If it's not there, stop the clock. He does that. But an excellent job getting this ball with 40 seconds. I thought they burned the timeouts early, but they did get the big play to Freeman, which made up for it. And now they get a chance to come away with 3 points to end this half.
32-yard try for Bryant. One of the better kickers in the NFL. And able to push it through. The Falcons will get the ball to start the second half. And when they get it, they'll be trailing by 10. Make it 11, 28-17. So the field goal by Bryant, the 32-yarder, and it's an 11-point game here in Arlington. Kurt, all yours. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. That was today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. It's an 11-point game at the half. The Falcons will get it to start the second half. Look at the stats. We had 474 yards of total offense. Time of possession, advantage Dallas. A 267-yard first half for the Cowboys, who were only faced with 2 third downs the entire first half, racking up all those points. And now we'll see how the Falcons come out to start this second half. A lot of short stuff so far for Brandon Wheaton.
Yeah, he hasn't even attempted a pass out to a wide receiver, and based on the way the Falcons play, a lot of single high safety, one-on-one on the outside. Typically, that is where the ball is going, but he's had time in the pocket clearly, and he's just worked those guys in the middle of the field. He's been very effective doing it. Be interesting to see what the Falcons do here defensively to try to slow down this offense.
Chance to return it. Eric Weems from inside the end zone gets a block or two. Penalty flag flies as Weems is brought down at the 24. It's a hold against Atlanta.
During the return, holding, number 62, the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
James Stone, backup offensive lineman, in on the kick return team, and he is guilty of the hold. I was really impressed with Devontae Freeman in that first half. He is not a big guy height-wise. He's 5'8", but he's 206. He is strong, and he is tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's run the ball well. I knew what he was as a receiver coming into this game. A lot of the third down stuff is his responsibility. He's good out of the backfield. He's got excellent hands. So that part of it, not surprising, but he has run the ball hard in the first half and has looked really good doing it.
Bryant sets up, throws, passes, incomplete. Julio Jones has only 3 catches in the game. Aaron, what'd you learn at halftime?
Well, this Atlanta offense now is without tight end Jacob Tamme. He's done for the day with a head injury. Troy talked about their defense. Well, Dan Quinn says it's not about making adjustments. It's not about making up new plays. It's about guys playing with some heart, guys playing discipline, and guys making some tackles. He said that's the worst half of football he's seen from a defense all year, Troy.
He missed our game last week.
2nd and 10. Right side, and out across the 15 is Freeman. 3rd down and short, coming up a gain of 7.
That's a great job on 2nd down and long and being able to pick up some big yards. But, you know, Aaron's report is right that you're not going to beat many people. As you see Sean Lee down right now, and I know all Cowboy fans, including that sidelines, are holding their breath. See the blood coming out of his lip, and that's what they're tending to.
Take a break, come back as they check on Sean Lee.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Chevrolet, find new roads. By Pizza Hut, bring home the flavor only at Pizza Hut. And by Samsung, introducing the new Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus and the new Galaxy Note 5.
You want to go to the State Fair of Texas and get something fried.
That's right.
They'll fry your hat for you if you want them to. Sean Lee able to jog off. Third down. Pass. Jones left alone. Did he get them both down? He did. And a nice catch by Julio Jones along the sideline. Good for 14 and a first down.
Well, really good route. They're finally able to get the ball to Julio Jones. They've tried a lot in this game, just haven't been able to connect. Excellent job by him in getting both his feet down on that reception.
Up to the line in a hurry. Fourth catch for Jones. Freeman right side. Nowhere to go. Knocked down by Carr. And a loss of 5 on the play as Brandon Carr steps up.
Yeah, that's a good job by Brandon Carr. He comes up and makes the play. If he doesn't make the play there, Freeman had the edge, and there's no one else out there. And if you're going to play corner in Rod Marinelli's scheme, you better be able to tackle. They've got to be involved on the perimeter in those types of plays, and Brandon Carr does an excellent job in the open field getting Freeman on the ground.
Sean Lee is out. Andrew Gatchkar, free agent from the Chargers, is out there for Dallas. Their depth being tested here early in the year. Here's Freeman. Penalty flag flies as Freeman's got a first down, but we'll see if it's coming back. It's a hold.
Holding, number 70. Offense, 10-yard penalty, so second down.
Jake Matthews, first-round pick out of A&M last year, guilty of a hold.
That's a left tackle there, and against DeMarcus Lawrence, or excuse me, Russell. That's a costly penalty on them because they're able to pick up that first down with the underneath throw to Freeman.
Jake had a high ankle last year. Liz Frank surgery over the offseason. Brought in Jake Long. He's not active. Over first pick by the Miami Dolphins. He is on the roster for the Falcons now. Teron Ward in the backfield, 2nd and 25. This one's hit at the line of scrimmage. Julio Jones was the target, and after that hold, it's now 3rd down and 25 as Hayden got his hand up.
Yeah, they're not able to get to him, but he gets his hand up, gets a hand on the ball, and that time Matt Ryan trying to take a page out of Brandon Whedon's book and just check it down underneath and try to make it a more manageable 3rd down.
3rd and a quarter of the field to go for Matt Ryan. This one batted down by Hayden again. He gets 2 in a row. And again, it was intended for Julio Jones.
Well, the Cowboys have a 3-man rush. You're going to see Nick Hayden does exactly what he did on the previous plays. Big paw up there, and he knocks it down. And they're just trying to play the field position game there and complete something underneath, help out the punter. Good job by Dallas. And now the Cowboys, they should get this with excellent field position.
Beasley back there. That's now 12 targets for Julio Jones. He has only 4 catches. Mosher needs a good one. Beasley from outside the 40. Into Atlanta territory, and a good return by Cole Beasley. Toilolo on the stop. A return of 11 yards, and the Cowboys up 11 with good starting position. Big holding call against number 70, Jake Matthews, on that last possession. Took away a first down. And now starting at the 47 after the punt return by Beasley, are the Cowboys up 11. And was too jumpy.
Number 82 offense, 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
As good as Witten is, he is prone to have some false starts. He had one last week, he had one week 1, and then another one here in this one.
We'll peek inside our broadcast booth here in Arlington, Texas, and This Cowboy offense has been impressive, and really they've ridden that good offensive line.
Well, we heard Aaron Andrews talking to Dan Quinn at halftime as to, what do they have to do. They're not going to change schemes. They do what they do. They just got to be better at executing.
Here's Randall, and a good play made by Schofield. And O'Brien Schofield able to celebrate. He's bounced around in his career. He's been with Quinn in Seattle, a loss of 1.
Yeah, and I know in talking with Dan Quinn, he was saying that getting O'Brien Schofield here was really a good acquisition for them in terms of messaging and knowing how the defense is supposed to be run. When you come in, you're a new coach, and then you're putting in a new defensive scheme. It's nice when you have people who have had some experience within it and can help explain it and continue with the messaging in the locker room with these players. So a good stop there by Schofield.
Now on second down, protection for Whedon. Flag flies and Whedon throws it away.
Quarterback's out of the pocket.
Flag is down.
Holding. Number 68 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
So they get dug free. Keep showing Dan Quinn as we'll watch the hold here. Out on the edge by 68. He got a hold of O'Brien Schofield. Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. The previous defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley, he got the head job in Jacksonville. And now Quinn leaves the Seahawks defense, and he's the head man in Atlanta.
Well, when you step in as the head coach and you had been the defensive coordinator on a team that was a Super Bowl champion and then got back to the Super Bowl the following year, it gives you instant credibility within that locker room, and they like what he's doing here.
Here's Dunbar. Durant makes the tackle immediately at the 40. Third and forever coming up. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, Adrian Peterson, folks, is back. 192 total yards last week, and his first 2 touchdowns of the season this week. This one a 43-yard stiff-arming along the way run against San Diego. Minnesota up 17-7 in the third. Joe Troy Aaron.
I had a feeling they were going to feed Adrian Peterson a little bit. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator there in Minnesota, having served as the head coach in San Diego, they wanted to turn him loose, and he's done just that.
Third down and 23. Here's Dunbar. He won't get the first down. He takes it inside the 45, and on this drive that started at the Atlanta 47, they had the 2 penalties, a negative run, the short pass play. Now this one for 17 yards. It's time to punt.
Yeah, disappointing possession there for the Cowboys with great field position and just unable to do anything with it. They get backed up, as you said, because of the penalties, and now having to punt the ball back. That's got to bode pretty well for this Falcons defense. Really not able to shut down the offense, but to open this half with a good stop.
End over end. Weems waits for it. Fair catch inside the 15-yard line. So the Falcons will have it again. They'll mark him just outside the 13. Back to work. Matt Ryan down 11.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Watch live local games with NFL Mobile only on Verizon.
Falcons have the ball. The Cowboys for the moment don't have Sean Lee. Andrew Gatchkar out there again for Dallas. On first down, a toss to Freeman running right out on the edge. Nice play to start this drive, down 11. And they're going to mark him a yard shy of a first down. Aaron, what'd you learn about Sean Lee?
Well, still no sign of him out on the field. We heard he's back in the locker room. He's got a split lip, guys. They're working on that, so should be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, you know they're sure trying to strap him down in the locker room. He doesn't want to come out for anything but a split lip. Second and 1. Play action. This is the fullback. DeMarco's got a first down. His second catch of the season. Gain of 4.
And DeMarco, clearly as a fullback, you're just not going to get that many opportunities. You're right. It's just his second reception on the year. But, when you go back and you look at this game and the guys who played well, I think Patrick DeMarco has really played well in this game. That's not going to show up on the stats. He's been an excellent blocker for Devontae Freeman throughout that first half.
Ryan for Jones. Great catch and throw. And Jones is good out to the 48. A gain of 22, and they're trying to get Julio Jones rolling here in the second half.
Well, they're going to run the deep crossing route. This is really how the Falcons like to take their shots, and Matt Ryan does an excellent job hanging in the pocket, knowing that he's going to take a hit. They run that wide zone play, they keep running it, and then they come back off of that with the play action and take the shot, and Matt Ryan knew there weren't going to be a lot of opportunities, but they had to hit him when it was there, and they just did.
Here's Freeman now. He breaks through the line. Takes it to the Dallas 45, and momentum now on the side of the Atlanta Falcons as they trail here with 8 to go third quarter.
This is a Cowboys defense that really does a great job of not giving up big plays. So when they match up man-to-man, you're able to get protection, and you got a route like that called. They blistered the Eagles with that exact same action and route with Julio Jones, and they're able to get the hit against the Cowboys.
Here's Freeman. He's wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Hitchens brings him down. Julio Jones had been out the 2 previous plays. He limped off after that big completion. Now he's back out there on 3rd down and 3. And Toilolo, the only tight end remaining for the Atlanta Falcons after Tammy left with a head injury, limps off.
Well, that running game changes completely if they lose Toilolo, to be able to block the edge. It already did without Tammy, and then you lose him. Now you're trying to just match some things up, go with different personnel groupings.
3rd down. Ryan pass caught. Julio Jones stays upright and in for the touchdown. 45 yards on 3rd down and 3 as the Falcons close the gap.
Well, Tyler Patman, you're going to see he's in coverage. Julio Jones gets a free release off the ball, and you're just not going to keep up with him. Julio Jones is 220 pounds. He runs a 4.3. He's hard to get to the ground once he has the ball in his hands. 3rd and 3, a clean release, and just easy pickings for Matt Ryan.
They give it another look to make sure he stayed in bounds. He did, and the extra point instead going for 2. Try to make this a 3-point game, or the Falcons. This will be the first 2-point conversion try for the Falcons this season. Sean Lee back out of the dressing room.
Well, Julio Jones lined up in the slot on that touchdown pass. Now he's out here wide.
Toilolo back in there for Atlanta. And he's into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. It was Julio Jones on 3rd and 3 from 45 yards away, and then Toilolo. And all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game in Arlington, Texas. Julio Jones with the touchdown, a 45-yarder on 3rd down and 3. Then the 2-point conversion followed. Cowboys have never trailed in this game. 3 times they've led by 14. Now the lead is 3. Washer to kick it away. And out of the back of the end zone. So the pressure has switched back to Dallas now into the 2-point conversion.
You're going to see Anthony Hitchens, the middle linebacker. He just blows coverage because Toilolo, he comes off the ball and Hitchens doesn't pick him out. There's no one else there to cover that play. Here's the end of the touchdown by Julio Jones as he goes to the ground. Looked like he might have banged his head, but when he came off the field, he was clutching at his hamstring a little bit. Definitely hobbled. How much that will affect him the remainder of this game, we'll find out.
From the 20. See if the Falcons can stop the ground game in Dallas. So far, they haven't been able to. They'll get a chance here, and they do. Randall swallowed up. And it's Solei coming through to make the initial hit, a loss of 4. 2nd and 14 coming up.
Well, that's his job there in the middle. He's a big body. The Cowboys have been running the football. They bring him in the middle, and he's able to get the penetration and not let Joseph Randle get any kind of momentum once the ball's in his hands, and that's something that they did not do at all in that first half.
Complete turnaround the way this game began. First quarter dominated by Dallas. Third quarter dominated so far by Atlanta, down 3. Wheaton. Pass is tipped up and incomplete off the hands of Terrence Williams. Good throw by Wheaton. It was right there, and Williams could not make the catch.
Yeah, there was a linebacker that got underneath it. Justin Durant, I think that might have blocked Terrence Williams' vision, or he maybe even got a hand on it, but there was some heat on that ball. It went up in the air, and boy, Allen was in a position to make a play, and obviously that would have been a huge play in this game for the Falcons if they were able to get another short field for their offense.
Durant got back there in that lane, now 3rd and 14. Penalty flag on the play. Here's Dunbar underneath. Good play is made by Durant, but a flag is down. Thrown at the snap now, another flag. 2 different fouls on the play. The feel of this game has completely switched to the Atlanta side. Pete Morelli has to sit
2 fouls on the play. Illegal formation. Number 71 lined up in the backfield. By rule, that penalty will be declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 99 hit below the legs of the quarterback. 15 yards, automatic first down.
The difference between the 5 and 15-yard penalty. The 5-yarder is wiped away. It's Claiborne going down low. That draws the flag thrown by Morelli, and it's a first down by penalty, and that is a big call against Atlanta.
It's a big penalty, and they're protecting these quarterbacks, and it's unfortunate for Adrian Claiborne. He's just trying to get back to the quarterback. Obviously was not targeting the legs there of Brandon Wheaton, but they got the call, so a very costly penalty indeed.
It's a 3rd personal foul on the Falcons defense today, and that's a big one. Here's Randall. They started this drive with a negative play. They start with this fresh set of downs with a carry of 2 yards. Meanwhile, Troy, Atlanta came back from down 20-10 in the 3rd quarter last week and won the Meadowlands 24-20. They had that big lead against Philadelphia Monday night week 1. They lost the lead for a moment, regained it, held on. And now they're trying to climb all the way back, down 14 points 3 times in this game. And they've got all the momentum right now.
Well, their defense is giving them an opportunity. You know, the Cowboys just aren't running right through them like they were in that first half, making things a little bit tougher. And they've gotten the Cowboys into some 3rd and longs.
Here's 2nd down. Here's Witten. First down. Out of bounds. Forced out by Moore, a gain of 12. Again, sprained knee and 2 sprained ankles, and he doesn't look affected by it at all. Looked like Witten at the end of it may have gotten the face mask at least up high, and he got that little finger hooked under the bottom bar of the face mask, and William Moore, no call.
Yeah, the Cowboys, they get away with one there. I'm surprised still the Cowboys have not taken a shot, you know, really down the field with either of these wide receivers.
Here's Randall. Nowhere to go. And the play is made by Stupor. A loss of 2. This season stream live local Sunday afternoon games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. 2nd down and 12.
I was talking about, you know, they are doing a good job working underneath, but, you know, the looks that you get one-on-one. Now, you know, you've got Devin Street, who's a young player. He's got to show that he can beat man-to-man coverage. But Terrence Williams, they tried getting one earlier to him, but nothing really vertical or, you know, for a big play. But they've gotten looks to try something.
fake the handoff. Wheaton throws high for Witten. And Witten gets popped by Allen. 3rd down and 12. That play was there, and Wheaton threw it too high.
That's a high fastball for Brandon Wheaton because he reads it beautifully. He's got a shot, but that's the ball that, Witten wants that thing right around his numbers so he can protect himself, knowing that he's going to take a hit from Ricardo Allen at the end of the play.
Missed chance there for Brandon Wheaton, now faced with 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, so once again, the Falcons here in the second half, they bring on a 3rd and long, something that Cowboys didn't face any of these in the first half.
Here's Dunbar. They've done this a lot. Nowhere to go. Dunbar swallowed up Ricardo Allen, the first guy there. And up near midfield, just on the Cowboys side of it, a gain of 6. It's 4th down.
Yeah, they've gotten him to 3rd and long, and that's really been what the Cowboys have done in those situations is rather than Wheaton trying to hang in the pocket and find somebody that's past the chains, he's just come underneath and seen if Dunbar can pick it up. Falcons come up and make the tackle.
Fair catch. Just outside the 10 by Eric Weems. 40-yard punt, no return. Falcons have it and the momentum as they trail by 3. A playmaker back for both sides. Julio Jones, Sean Lee. From the 11, a toss to Freeman. And Devontae Freeman right through the gut of this Dallas defense on 1st down. Picks up 16. J.J. Wilcox on the tackle. And he's looked good all day, Devontae Freeman.
Well, Mike Person, the center, he does an excellent job getting the block. And then you got Toilolo, the tight end, who he's in the fullback position. He makes another key block and just opens up a huge hole for Devontae Freeman.
18 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns for Devontae Freeman, all career highs. Now on 1st down, play action works. Pass is caught by Julio Jones. And no answer for Freeman or Jones by this Dallas defense. Aaron, give us more on Julio.
Well, after he scored that touchdown, we noticed him hobbling off the field. I watched him over on the sideline, and the head athletic trainer, Marty Lazon, while he didn't go up to him, he was definitely pacing, kind of circling around and looking at him. Again, he was never looked at by the trainers, but they're keeping their eye on him.
So's this Dallas defense as he cuts right through him. Under 2 to go, 3rd quarter. Here's Freeman. Good work by this offensive line. They added Andy Levitre right before the start of the regular season in a trade from Tennessee. They picked up Chris Chester, who had been with Washington, and they signed Mike Person, who's bounced around, never been a starter. 5 years, 5 different organizations. He's the center, and they've looked good.
They have looked good. This offensive line is only going to get better. They had not run the ball particularly well through the first 2 games, and you wonder, okay, well, how are they going to do against this Cowboys defensive front? They've been outstanding. This group's starting to come together, and Devontae Freeman, he has been awfully impressive stepping in for the injured rookie, Tevin Coleman.
Freeman, well played that time. It was DeMarcus Lawrence closing it down off the edge with under a minute to go, 3rd quarter, a gain of just 1.
You look at the second half here, Joe, and you say, when did the momentum shift? When did the Falcons kind of take control? And I think it was that first possession of this half for the Cowboys. They had the ball on the 47-yard line going in. They'd made a big stop with Atlanta to open up the second half defensively and some penalties, and they couldn't do anything with it. And since that time, it's really been all the momentum for the Atlanta Falcons.
Big 3rd down here, 3rd and 6. Ryan out to his right, can run for it, and he will. 1st down and more, inside the 40. As Matt Ryan, the 30-year-old, picks up 18.
Well, Matt Ryan certainly not known as a guy who runs a lot, but he has open field, and he got a nice gain on that 3rd down play.
End of quarter number 3. What a game here in Arlington. Back after this. From your local Fox station, 3-point game. An 18-yard run by Matt Ryan on 3rd down and 6. 2nd longest run of his career. His 8th year out of Boston College, first-round pick in 08. Career record of 1-4 in the postseason. Got that hanging around his neck. This will be a year he does something about that. First down. Here's Freeman left side. Lee on the tackle. Gain of 3, back to that carry by Matt Ryan.
Well, they're trying to work Ward in the backfield, number 33, on an option route. He comes out, and here's Matt Ryan. He's watching it. He's got a clear shot. They're going to pick up the first down, but then Ward falls down. And he's got nowhere to go with the football, and because he's able to escape, Cowboys locked up. It opens up a lot of room then for Matt Ryan, who took it. He also had a chance for Julio Jones on the scramble drill. It would have been a huge play as well.
Second and 7. Quick setup and throw. Jones has got another. And a first down inside the 20. To the 19-yard line. Carr on the stop. A gain of 14.
Tight coverage, but you see Brandon Carr, he gives him the inside lane and he takes it. And a lot of Julio Jones's receptions this year, you see him, he's hobbled around a little bit. You just wonder how much longer he's going to be able to go, but has caught a lot of balls right there on those quick screens. And where he creates so many problems is he lines up in so many different places, you just don't ever know exactly where he's going to be. Right now he's at the top of the screen.
On first down, Freeman. Patman slowed him down. Carr came in with the next hit, and then Hitchens gets the tackle, no gain.
Well, that's a good play there defensively by the Cowboys. Tyler Patman comes up. They got the screen. They got linemen out there. Just not able to get much out of that play.
Falcons have never led in this game. Second and 10. Ryan out to his right. Even falling down, Julio Jones makes the catch. Just get it near him, and he'll secure it. Good for 6.
Well, this guy, I can't say enough good things about Julio Jones and just the way he approaches the game. When he first came into this league, he was really just more of a deep threat, big play guy. I had a chance to visit with him before the game. He credited really Roddy White, who did not catch a ball last week, has not yet caught a pass here today. But he credits Roddy White for kind of showing him how to be a pro and how to prepare. And Roddy White did a heck of a job because he's turned into one of the really special players in our game.
Third down and 4. And whistles stop play. Timeout Dallas. Jason Garrett can feel this thing slipping away. October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action. The American League Division and Championship Series. It all begins October 8th. FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, of course, my Texas Rangers are playing good, and Brandon Wheaton knows all about baseball there with the Yankees. Said he had a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. There's not a lot of those out there, right? I'm wondering. No, But we had a good visit with him on Friday, and what a delightful guy. And he's a guy you really pull for. And he took the tough road. That minor league stuff is hard, and he tried it, gave it a shot, didn't work out, and then went back, of course, to college at Oklahoma State. Had to pay his way initially, finally got a scholarship, but he was referred to as old grandpa there at Oklahoma State, which is obvious.
They're down in 4. Pass is caught underneath. First down, Nick Williams. Just his 3rd catch of the season, but it is huge in a conversion on 3rd down against the rookie Byron Jones.
Yeah, rookie on rookie, huh? You got Nick Williams, and first-year player anyway, and he's up against the rookie Byron Jones, a first-round pick. And Nick Williams, watching him last week against the Giants, he's one of those scrappy guys. The Cowboys have one in Cole Beasley, and I like this Nick Williams.
Freeman, touchdown, barely touched. flag at the end of it. Falcons come away celebrating as they listen in. It's the first lead of the day for Atlanta. If it stands, it looks like it will.
Well, the Falcons up front, they've hit him a few times now, right up the gut. An excellent job inside by center person Chris Chester, and then the right tackle Ryan Schrader makes the key block. And
There's no foul on the field, no penalty on the field for a face mask.
I'll tell you right now, there's just been a change of halves. You know, the Falcons had a hard time slowing down this Cowboys offense there in the first half, and the Cowboys defensively, outside of the first possession to start this second half, have just not been able to slow down the Falcons at all.
Freeman now 22 carries, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. The 4th-round pick out of Florida State a year ago. Battled through a hamstring injury during the preseason, and he is finally healthy. And it is showing. The lead is 4. What a day for Devontae Freeman. What a day for the Atlanta Falcons. 2-0 and leading the Cowboys.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Burger King. Kick off fall with a new Oreo Pumpkin Spice Shake. By Xbox One, the official game console of the NFL. And by Lowe's. Hurry in this week for great fall savings.
First time in 70 games a Falcon has had 3 rushing touchdowns in a game. Michael Turner last to do it, 2010. Devontae Freeman has accomplished that here today. Now the lead is 4. Under 11 and a half to go. And the Falcons, who have defeated the Eagles and the Giants, trying to take care of the Cowboys. And Devontae Freeman saying, thanks. You guys are making me look good today. Starting at the 20 is Brandon Wheaton, now trailing for the first time. Here's McFadden. You just get the feeling as McFadden gets a yard and a half at some point here, the Cowboys are going to have to try and open it up a bit. On the left, wearing number 17, is Kellen Moore, a 4th-year pro out of Boise State. On the right is Matt Castle, who the Cowboys traded for during the week. From Buffalo, you know him from his time with the Patriots. He was a Pro Bowler with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's made 71 starts in the NFL. That backup spot will eventually be Matt Castle's, and who knows what it will be the rest of the way for Castle here with Dallas. 2nd and 8. Wheaton, Beasley, good throw, but out of bounds short of a first down, covered by Phillip Adams.
Well, like you said, Joe, Matt Castle has 3 times as many starts as Brandon Wheaton. He's won 10 games in this league, a couple different times with 2 different teams. The Patriots when he replaced Brady in 08, and then with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2010. I thought it was a great pickup. And what a hot commodity he is. He's been traded for twice in the last 7 months. The Bills traded for him from the Minnesota Vikings, and then, of course, the Cowboys do, too. This is a big 3rd down right now for Dallas and Brandon Wheaton. It's kind of easy to play the position when you've got a nice cushion and you don't have to worry too much about trying to bring your team back. He's got to keep this drive alive here.
Wheaton is sacked, brought down from behind. The offensive line lets him down. The defensive front picks it up for Atlanta, and a loss of 8.
Well, Vic Beasley, number 44, is going to come off the edge. Tyron Smith is going to be the one who's handling him, and Beasley is very powerful and explosive off the line of scrimmage. And as soon as Brandon Wheaton can't find anybody open and tries to escape it, Beasley's there to make a play. So a big stop once again by this Falcons defense.
They have really turned it on. Vic, 33 sacks at Clemson, 1st-round pick by the Falcons. As Jones hits a good one. Their catch is just hung on to by Eric Weems. A 44-yard punt. No return. Falcons have the football, up by 4.
Today's game is sponsored by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito Big Boxes. Grab them at Taco Bell.
to it. Up by 4. Toss to Freeman running left. Play made by Hitchens, the linebacker. A gain of 4 on first down, and Hayden a bit slow to get up. And while we were heaping praise on this Dallas defense, as Hayden now can't get up. The Dallas defense has been handled by the Atlanta Falcons here in the second half, really all day.
Yeah, they really have. The last 2 possessions, the Falcons have been able to go right down and finish them off with touchdowns. And it's a huge possession right now defensively for the Cowboys to make a stop.
Let's check in with Kurt Menefee with a game break.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the lead at St. Louis, but this could be a huge loss. Ben Roethlisberger, hit low by Mark Barron, had to be carted off the field with a knee injury. He's done for the day. Michael Vick has come in relief. Hit 2 of his first 3 passes. Right now, Pittsburgh's holding on to the lead, but obviously more important things for the Steelers to worry about right now, Joe.
Wow. Big loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We look at Hayden, where he may have been injured. They've already been without Randy Gregory, their second-round pick out of Nebraska, who looked like their best young pass rusher. He is out with a high right ankle sprain, and he may not be back until week 7 with a game at the Giants. He got hurt in week 1. They lost Terrell McClain last week, put on IR with a sprained big toe. They don't have Greg Hardy. They don't have their middle linebacker, Rolando McClain. A bit short-handed and getting thinner up front. 2nd and 6 for Atlanta. Freeman running right. Great blocking, and Devontae Freeman into Dallas territory. And the Cowboys have no answer for number 24. Good for 17.
This offensive line for the Falcons, we've talked about it. They've just done an outstanding job. Chris Chester, the right guard, is going to pull around, and he is really good then at securing the edge, blocks Barry Church, and gives a lane for Devontae Freeman. And even with the Cowboys anticipating run and loading the box with extra defender, they've not been able to make a stop. So look, right now you got Ryan in shotgun, but look for Matt Ryan, if they continue with this, to go play action and take a shot down the field, because they're getting some good looks for run.
Here's play action, and a pass right through the hands of Hankerson. Here's the help on the way for the Dallas Cowboys. Rolando McClain suspended the first 4 games. Same for Greg Hardy. And Randy Gregory has the high ankle sprain, and he really looked good. I know he caught your eye in his week 1 effort here at home against the Giants on Sunday night.
I thought I was watching the Hall of Famer Charles Haley. You know, he wears the same number, 94, looks the same coming off the ball. You know, really impressive. And then, of course, that's the guy, Des Bryant, that they really miss.
Romo as well. 2nd and 10. Here's Jones. He makes the catch. He's upended a yard short of the first down by Wilcox. A gain of 9 and a 3rd and 1 coming up with under 8 to play.
Well, I like the game that Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, has called. You know, he's mixed it up nicely. Haven't taken as many shots down the field, primarily because the Cowboys usually play those pretty good, although, as I said, there has been some opportunities, but they are running the ball well, and they're hitting some of that quick passing like we just saw to Julio Jones.
Freeman got it. First down inside the 30. And Devontae Freeman getting the start. Tevin Coleman, the rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Indiana, has a cracked rib, but they haven't missed a beat. Freeman now 30 touches in this game, 178 total yards.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. I mean, he figures out where he's got to go with the ball. He's got enough maneuverability as he showed on that play, but man, once he decides he's going to take it north and south, he hits it hard.
Now on first down, he's bottled up. Good play. Crawford was in there with Hitchens.
You know, if I was a running back in this league and had an opportunity to run the ball in this zone blocking scheme that Kyle Shanahan has brought with him here to Atlanta, I'd be pretty excited about it. I mean, of course, Kyle Shanahan certainly impacted philosophically by his father, Mike Shanahan, and you remember back to those days in Denver, and it just seemed, starting with Terrell Davis and just seemed like no matter who they put back there, they were 12, 13, 1,400-yard rushers. And they do a good job, and this offensive line has been good here today.
Second down and 9. Pass is caught short of a first down. That is Toilolo, the tight end. He's to the 20. Third down and 3 coming up.
Boy, and they're just taking time off this clock right now with a 4-point lead and under 6 minutes to play. Falcons certainly in no hurry to get it into the end zone, but they have a nice methodical drive going right here.
Falcons are 5 for 6 on third down this half. Third down and 3. Julio Jones has got another. And he is on a body to the 10. A gain of 10. And the Cowboys cannot get a stop.
Now, Julio Jones, who runs a pivot route, looks like he's going to go to the flat. He comes underneath, change of direction, force Morris Claiborne to come off of that and cover him. And the guy simply can do it all. I mean, he runs the underneath stuff. He's tough. He's physical. He can go deep. There's nothing within this offense and within the route tree that Julio Jones can't do. And I don't think he's 100%, Joe. I think that hamstring or something is bothering him, but yet he's still getting separation and making plays.
First and goal. Freeman cuts upfield to the 5. Nick Hayden, who we saw needing help to get off the field moments ago, in there for that stop. Think about Thomas Dimitroff when he pulled the trigger on that deal for Julio Jones in the draft in 2011. He traded, swapped first-round picks, and added 4 more picks to the package to get him. And there's Thomas Dimitroff right in the middle, with Rich McKay to his left and the owner Arthur Blank to his right. They've got to be thrilled with what they're seeing here in this second half and to start the year.
Yeah, that's a good collection of minds right there.
Under 4 to go. Second and goal from the 5. Freeman dancing his way to the 2. Hitchens on the tackle, another third down coming up.
Well, I don't think Matt Ryan's going to tell Devontae Freeman not to score here on third down. So the Cowboys are going to have to do it themselves. But they have marched the ball down the field. They've taken time off the clock, a 4-point lead. And, this has been impressive. This is what good offenses do when they have a chance to really put the game away and make it a 2-possession game with very little time remaining. And they've been able to do that. This has been something to watch. So now a big third down here for Dallas. They're going to hang in there.
Touchdown could ice it. It's Ryan out to his right looking for Jones. He's got him. Touchdown. An absolute clinic put on by the Falcons offensively here in this second half. And they add to their lead.
Well, the Falcons are expecting man coverage. Well-designed play by Kyle Shanahan. They're going to run Julio Jones underneath the formation all the way across and see if they match up. You try to navigate all those bodies. It's hard to cover him up. He outflanks everyone. Just put it on him and let him get across the end line or the goal line, and an excellent drive by the Atlanta Falcons.
This to make it an 11-point game. Julio Jones had 3 catches at the half. Well, he kept up his pace for the big second half. 12 catches for the day. 34 for the season. Dan Quinn's team looking at a 3-0 start. 25 unanswered points put up by Atlanta. First quarter dominated by Dallas. First half, for the most part, this was a 28-17 game at the half, with Dallas on top. One key interception thrown by Brandon Whedon. But for the most part, this has been Atlanta getting it done on the road, just slicing through this Dallas defense. Dunbar will bring it out. Down by 11. Out of bounds near the 20. There's only one place on television where bad is so good this season on Gotham. Villains will rise to a new level of criminal chaos. Gotham, Rise of the Villains. Catch an all-new episode tomorrow right here on Fox.
You know, Joe, I'd like to see what that halftime locker room was like there for the Atlanta Falcons. Dan Quinn clearly upset with the way that they played. We heard Erin Andrews' report after she had a chance to visit with him. It's been an entirely different football team here in the second half. And based on what they had done in the first half, they never stopped believing in themselves.
Here's Witten. Pass is caught a yard shy of first down. Cowboys are going to have to open it up. And whether it's the play calling or the way this game just developed, nothing downfield for Brandon Whedon as this game went on. It just hasn't happened.
Well, they've gotten looks for the outside game, but he's just been executing what he's been asked to on the underneath throws.
Here's a throw for a first down to Dunbar.
I think, Joe, clearly if Des Bryant was in the game, they're going to be taking some shots to the wide receivers. But he's been working the middle of the field with Witten, Lance Dunbar, Cole Beasley. There's nothing wrong with that. They just haven't been able to convert on third downs in the second half to maintain drives.
Pass is caught by Dunbar and a good tackle made by Durant.
So one of the things here, Dan Quinn, that much like Rod Marinelli, he prides himself on is not giving up big plays. And so they're going to force the Cowboys to continue to do the things that they do and not give up big chunks here with 2 minutes left in the game.
2-minute warning here in Arlington, Texas. Dallas Cowboys started this season 2-0. They're in trouble here. They did get 2 divisional wins, beating the Giants and then the Eagles on the road. Who knows what it's going to take to win the NFC East. Philadelphia's winning today, big. Not as big as they were. It's now a 10-point game against the Jets. Second down and 7. Here's Dunbar again underneath. Ducks under a tackle, picks up 9. Needing to get it down the field, get points, and then attempt an onside kick. They have a chance here against Atlanta.
The Falcons are perfectly fine giving up that throw.
Whedon steps through trouble and will slide and not throw it away, so the clock continues to wind.
Yeah, I think that's where game experience or lack thereof comes into play. But Brandon Whedon's at a position in his career where he should know better than this. I mean, you either run it and you go get the first down, or you throw it away. But you can't go to the ground right here to avoid the hit on third down and keep the clock running.
So they have to use a timeout. They're down to 1. Next week, it's an NFL on Fox doubleheader. Here are the matchups. Early and then late. The Eagles and Redskins, a good one early. Panthers and Bucks. Giants and the Bills. And America's Game of the Week, the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. The Vikings and the Broncos, the Rams and the Cardinals. If you look ahead for the Dallas Cowboys, they have a date next at New Orleans. Saints may again be without Drew Brees. That was the report that came out today. Then a home game against New England, then their bye. By then they should start to see players filtering back. In fact, they'll get a few back after the New Orleans game, including McClain, their linebacker, and Greg Hardy, the defensive end. 4th down and 4 here. Pass is dropped by Terrence Williams. Whedon put it right on him, and Williams couldn't make the catch. And that will, in essence, do it as the Falcons will take over, leading by 11, a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, perfectly thrown ball by Whedon. He puts it right in the chest, right on the numbers of Terrence Williams. He just not able to secure the ball. And I think you look at this and you question a lot of things if you're the Cowboys as to how you let the big lead go and you don't finish a game in the second half. Just a different team. But like you said, Joe, Brandon Whedon executed the game plan that was presented to him. He had the costly interception. They had some negative plays, penalties, not getting the running game going the way they did in the first half. The defense really in the second half of this game is what let this team down.
A birthday kiss for Arthur Blank as his team takes over. Bonus coverage coming your way for the Eagles and the Jets. Here's Freeman. And the final timeout will be taken by Dallas. When teams play the Atlanta Falcons, the board in every defensive meeting room says, stop Julio Jones. The Dallas Cowboys did it for a half. They did not do it at all in the second half, and Julio just took it to him. The day for Julio Jones, 12 catches, 164 yards, 2 touchdowns, a long of 45. And that touchdown made it 28-25 when the 2-point conversion was good. You saw the schedule coming up. They've got a home game against Houston, home game against Washington, at New Orleans for the Atlanta Falcons. Here's Freeman. Cowboys can't stop the clock.
Yeah, I'll still go back to really the turn in this game for Dallas was their first possession to start the second half offensively inside the 50-yard line. And they go nowhere with it. The Falcons don't give up any points. And then ever since that possession, it's been all Atlanta. You know, there's a lot of confidence that comes when you win games, especially on the road, and even more so when you come from behind and you win on the road. And these Falcons now have done that in back-to-back weeks, and they're riding high right now. And Dan Quinn has got them playing hard and believing in themselves regardless of whatever the score might be. This has been impressive.
Only need one more snap to end it. So here's what's happened in this game. The Falcons overcame 3 14-point deficits. They have a third straight fourth quarter comeback. They scored 25 unanswered points. And in his first year, Dan Quinn, a real good guy, an energetic, fiery leader for the Atlanta Falcons, has his team at 3-0. And the Romo-less Cowboys, the Des Bryant-less Cowboys, suffer their first loss, 2-1. We'll come back, wrap up, and then give you bonus coverage after this. Atlanta by 11.